On behalf of Indira Gandhi National Open University, we welcome you for this interactive lecture session. Today's topic is change management, concepts and processes. This topic is from the course Advanced Certificate in Power Distribution Management. The course code is BEE-03 and the course name is Power Distribution Management. Today's topic is change management, its concepts and processes. Change management involves the process that ensures a business responds to the environment in which it operates. There is a saying that change is the only concept in our life. So, there is a saying that change is the only constant in our life. We had seen that there are several changes in our life with regard to food habits, with regard to educational systems, with regard to the work centers. There are a lot of changes are taking place in socio-economic and political aspects. So, today we will discuss details about the change management. Why do we need change for the growth of the organizations? What are the processes of changes and all. After listening to this video lecture, you will be able to understand what is change, know the process of change, explain the change models, discuss strategies of change and describe the common interventions for managing change. Change takes place in any organizations. Sometimes this change is intrinsic or sometimes it is extrinsic change. What is intrinsic? That means the change in the organization is very minute in nature but takes place continuously. That means always for that organization there is a continuous changes takes place, but people might not be knowing about those changes, but it is going on. But sometimes for an organization there is a drastic change, and that drastic changes is due to the natural calamities or any disasters. You take the examples for the present situations of COVID-19 situations. These situations has made a drastic change in all spheres of life. In education, you might have seen that the classes are going on online, whether it is for schools, colleges or even at the primary levels. All classes are going on through online mode. Even you will find that the media is also taking part for imparting education through online mode. The business, you might have seen that in today's scenario, but the people are not able to go out, so they are purchasing everything through online, and there is a drastic change in online services also. They are telling about what time do we need for that particular item at your home, and accordingly as per your choice they will give the timing for delivery of the goods. So change is inevitable. Sometimes changes are due to the forced situation. Sometimes in order to survive in the competitive market, the organizations must have changes with regard to their products and services to the customers to ensure the customer satisfactions and customers' goodwill. See, some key changes themes are anytime, any place, no matter, much customizations, and future trend. So let us discuss about all these points. What do we mean by anytime, any place? That means the customers may need that particular product or services at any time or at any place. Suppose some persons is attending some meeting, and in that meeting some materials are to be delivered. So in that case he may tell the courier that please deliver that particular item during my meeting period at particular point at particular place, so that I can make use of that particular thing in the meetings. Customers demand to provide them with products and services as per their requirements in the shortest possible time and at their convenience, at any time and at any place. The enterprise provides the value, is able to share economics with the customer by using as little matter as possible in preparation of the goods and services. Today, the use of automation and materials technology has reduced the amount of processing and actual material required for providing goods and services. All these competitive advantages is encapsulated in the phrase no matter. I would like to share my experience when we used first time the computer at our institute, that is Indian Institute of Technology, and the computer brand name was ICL 1960, and you will be surprised to know that whole building was completely occupied by the big machines for those computers, and we have to enter the data through punch card. And nowadays you might have seen that all the operations you can carry out with your personal computers, even with your laptop, and in some advanced mobile phones you can operate all the operations which we could do during the period when the computer was first introduced in our country. So materials has been reduced for particular item in the course of time, because it will be convenient if the size of the product is small, so that the customers can carry those items while they are traveling. And for this case you see that when first mobile was introduced the size was very big, but nowadays you might have seen that it has become thinner and it is very convenient to carry anywhere, and we can make use the particular product anywhere, any place. Thank you. Mass customization implies providing the customer with precisely what he requires. Sometimes that is non-standard, yet can be produced on the standard line. Suppose the bicycle manufacturers are producing bicycle for the customers, but if some customer says that he would like to have some extra features for that bicycle, and that bicycle has to be provided for that particular features. So now the production system is such that that particular product for that particular customers can be made without any difficulty by simply giving some instructions in the computer for producing that particular product. Improvement in quality and reduction in cost are important drivers of change. For an organization, productivity has meaning if people value its products and people support the product if they get value for their money. See, when you purchase any air conditioner, so you have something in your mind that these are the things you will get from that particular product. When you use that particular air conditioning systems, whether it is split or air conditioning or window air conditioning, you feel that the temperature should be controlled as per human comfort, the humidity should be controlled, there has to be air circulations, and the quality of air should be fine. There should not be any polluted material come into the room where you are residing. But if that particular product is not giving service for particular point, then definitely the customers will be not happy and the quality of the product will be not good. Then definitely the manufacturers will lose their marketing target. Our concern for the environment has also driven change in the way we conduct our business. In the context, power produced by renewable sources is certainly better than that produced by fossil fuel or nuclear fuels. However, switching over completely to these resources may not be possible in near future. You see that present scenario as per the data 31st March 2020, the total power generation capacity is 371.95 gigawatt, and that out of that capacity of power productions, around 55% of electricity is generated through thermal power plant, where we use coal as a fuel, because you know very well that the boiler produces a steam. How we can produce the steam? Because the coal is burned and that heat is being utilized for converting water into the steam. Then we get the high pressure, high temperature steam that passes through the turbine. The rotates and the shaft of the turbine is coupled with the shaft of the generator, which produces electricity, and the low pressure, low temperature steam passes through the condenser, and after that it is pumped back to the boiler, complete the cycle. But the coal which we use as a fuel, that is the conventional sources of fuel. That conventional sources of fuels are coal, oil and natural gas, and they are having finite reserve. The quantity is finite. So if we keep on using those coals, definitely after some time there may be scarcity of coal. So for sustainable development, we must see the alternative sources for producing electricity. Nowadays our government is giving emphasis for producing electricity by the renewable energy sources. What are those renewable energy sources? Like solar energy, wind energy, hydroelectricity, geothermal energy, tidal energy, wave energy, biomass and hydrogen fuel. These are all known as the renewable energy sources, and if we shift renewable energy sources, there are also advantages, because if we use coal, then there are some possibilities for the pollutant gas coming out to the atmosphere, and the CO2 gas which comes out by burning of fuel, that enhances the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, and that causes the global warming, for which the whole world is concerned about that. So there is a drastic change in the electric power sector, and the corrective measures are taken so that our environment will be safe. Invention and use of newer technology has the biggest impact on business, industry and society in determining the pace and nature of change. Let us have a glimpse into the future. We are into the age of what is called the shamrock organizations. The meaning of shamrock means a plant is having 3 leaves. So in our land, that shamrock is the national symbol. So 3 leaves are there in plant. So such organizations are employing 3 categories of workers. One is core employees, who constitute permanent staff performing the central activity. There are contractors, they are doing particular job as per the requirement of the organizations and for the contractual services. And the third one is casual and part-time workers who carry out seasonal or variable tasks. So these types of workers are there in any organizations nowadays because there is a change in the organizations. Previously, most of the persons, those who are working in that particular organizations, were mainly permanent employees. Now, what are the forces of change? Technology, that is tools, techniques, instruments, methods, procedures are drastically changing in our manufacturing sectors, in service sectors. The workforce, knowledge, skill, ambitions, expectations and needs, these are also important as the forces of change. Economy, due to the liberalizations, globalizations, privatizations, breaking the barriers, resource imbalance. So these are the main factors of on the front of economic aspects. And competitions, for that competitions, the mergers, acquisitions, entry of new organizations, new products, lowering prices and better services are involved. So if the two organizations are doing the same business, so they can, by mutual agreement, they can be merged together and do the business in a bigger way. Sometimes a company acquired some other companies so that they can perform better in that particular products or services. So that is known as acquisitions. Entry of new organizations and new products are coming in the market, so there is a competition among the manufacturers. Social trends, nowadays there is a drastic change in social change, nuclear families, working couples, late marriages and one child norm. There are political factors, varying ideologies, new equations, transitory relationship, coalition government and single superpower, etc. Now let us see what are the types of changes. So evolution, revolution and planned changes. Evolution means it is a planned, it is a natural process. The change, evolution is a kind of change that comes as a natural process in small adjustment or shifts in response to emerging problems. Revolution is a kind of change brought about applying force. Planned change takes place when efforts are made to make others feel the need for change, determine the ideal or desired situations and strive to achieve the ideal or desired state through planned actions. Now, there are certain types of changes like exceptional changes. What do we mean by exceptional changes? We are imparting some changes in a particular department by giving flexi time. Say for example, to enhance the efficiency of the employees, we can tell that they can come anytime in the office, but the main thing is this: they have to complete the job which are assigned to them. So that is known as exceptional change. And there is incremental change. That means we are changing something which may not be visible by the employees. We are introducing computers in the office to everybody. So that is the incremental changes. And there is a pendulum changes. Pendulum changes means pendulum shifts from one extreme point to the other extreme point, passing through the neutral point. So the pendulum changes means we are changing from one extreme to the other extreme. Suppose in the purchase department, previously they are operating on the open tender. So in the open tender means people will submit the tender, those who are in the business, and after that we have to find out which one is the lowest, and if the lowest is feasible, then we can assign the particular job to particular item to be purchased who have given the lowest bid. But sometimes what happened, the organizations can say no, we will not go for open tender, we will we are interested only for a single tender, because that particular item may be only one person's is, only one organization's or one manufacturing company is producing. So in that case we have to introduce the single tender, and we can also negotiate for the price if we go for a single tender. So that is a change, we call it the pendulum change, and sometimes the paradigm shift change. That means the concept or the ideas or concept for a particular organization is changing. Say for example, in the power sector, previously the power sector was just like a servicing sector, it is just like that producing power and distributing to the end users. But nowadays the paradigm shift is there for the power sector, they are converted as a business or that profit making centers, because in the power sectors they are producing electricity, but those electricities after giving or distributing to the citizens of that particular country, that if there is enough electricity generations, so they can sell to the big players or big industries at a very high voltage. You know that power is being transmitted at a very high voltage, and some organizations like cement factories, steel industries or other big chemical industries, they need power at a very high voltage. So it is delivered at the high voltage to the big industries. Sometimes it is to be delivered at the medium voltage. So at a medium voltage like 60 kilovolt is to be supplied to the medium industries which need that particular voltage. And of course, for electricity we are using at our home, we need 230 volt or 440 volt for running our equipment which we are using at home, or the lights, fans, refrigerators, for which we need electricity of 230 volt or 440 volts. See, the organizations can have in three status. One is no change. That means the organization is happy with the present situation and they don't wish to have any change for the present scenario. So that status is known as a no change. Sometimes they feel that the present status is very good. If there is any change, there may be some difficult situation may come. So why should we have change in the present scenario or the present start? That is known as the no change. But constant change, some manufacturers believe in constant change. Suppose some car manufacturers are there. You will find that if you purchase a car for a particular brand, say for example, for any particular brand, a medium sized car or small sized car or a big sized car, if you purchase a particular brand of a car, then after 2 years you will find that the car manufacturers for that particular brand is introducing another type, new model for the same car, same type of car which you have purchased 2 years back. But what are the changes? They might have changes for certain things like power windows, new concept of power windows. The hood is partly open so that while driving that you can open the hood partially and you can enjoy the good environmental conditions, and there may be some electronic features so that while taking backside of the car, some sensors are there, they will give some indications if any object is very nearby, or certain new features are introduced in that particular model and they are telling that they are introducing a new car for that particular model. So new model is always coming after every 2 years interval for any car manufacturing company, because they believe in constant change, and for shifting from no change to constant change, there is a desire, that is productive change. So the change should be there, the approaches to change has to be there, so that we can shift from no change to constant change. See, drivers of change in business. Marketing changes in the area of economic liberalizations, market forces are destined to dictate the pace and nature of change. We observe competitions for capturing the markets for both goods and services in all spheres of competing industries through joint ventures or subsidiaries. People expectations have undergone radical change. You know very well that there is a lot of technological changes are there. Previously, one mechanical equipment is consist of only the mechanical parts only, but nowadays you will find that mechatronics is involved for that particular product. Even for a mechanical engineering product like lathe machines or milling machines or shaping machines or a grinding machines, some electronics features are there because for giving feed, depth of cut or speed for that particular machines. Even for the numerical control machines, sitting in a room, you can feed the depth of cut or speed or cuttings or everything for that particular operation through keyboard. So that technological advances has already has come in the market. So we have to keep pace of that technological changes, otherwise we will not be able to stay in the competitive world. You see that previously around 50 or around 30 years back, you will find that there were several cloth mills were there in India, especially in Punjab, that JCT and JCT, Jagdish Singh cotton mills, Phagwara, and so many companies are there in the textile industries. But nowadays you will find the only few textile industries they are in capturing the market, because they believed in modernizations of that particular manufacturing processes, and they coped up with the technological changes so that they could keep the particular product at a competitive price in that market. But those who have neglected for modernizations of their organizations, they are not cope up. They failed in the competitive market for that. Organizational changes, organization responses to market changes can take the form of downsizing for cutting cost through retrenchment or reductions in the number of employees as well as in the levels of management. Technology may also force new style of governance which require different skills. The number of operating sites may be reduced. People may find themselves performing totally new functions. So in that way, by reducing the manpower, by reducing the number of sites, they can maintain the particular product or services at the affordable cost for the customer. So this is also very important. And nowadays the just-in-time technique has emerged, and that will reduce the cost of inventory for keeping the materials in the stores. That means when the particular product or particular item is required, the vendors will be such that they will just at the time of needing for that particular item they will deliver. That is a just-in-time technique. That technique is introduced by Japanese manufacturing company. Now the process of change, there is an existing situation. That change means transition. The change process means there is a transition from existing situation to the desired situation. So you have learned for that the change is the process of moving from current state to the desired state of future. So making a change involves moving the workforce in organizations and its work culture in the line with the strategies, structure, process and systems to achieve the desired state. Now, successful change occurs in three-step model: unfreezing, intervening and refreezing. Unfreezing means we observe that there is a change needed for that particular product, otherwise the product will not be able to sell in the market. So in that case, the organizations and employees realize that their change has to be there for that particular product or any services. Then intervening, that is the process for unfreezing to refreezing. Then refreezing means change has already been occurred. So in that case, it has been established, change has been established for that particular product and now it is fit for selling that particular product in the market. Now for that, this is the Lewis model, very interesting model, that there are two types of forces. One is driving forces, another one is restraining forces for any changing process. The driving forces are the forces which are for the change, restraining forces are the forces which are against the change, because if you introduce any change, you will find that there are resistance for that particular change by their own employees, because they feel that if there is a change, then there may be some problem for their growth. So they will try to obstruct or resistance for that particular change. Lewis model says that when the driving force and restraining force are in equilibrium conditions, that means these forces are equal. So change, till that time the change is not possible. But if the driving forces are more than restraining force, only in that case the change is possible. But for that, proper training, proper communications, proper discussions has to be there in between the authorities and the persons who are resisting for the change. So this is the Lewis model, very popular model in change management process. Now CDS model, there is another model, that is CDS model, that is current, desired and strategy. So this is a very simple three-stage model, that is assessment of the current state, developing the desired state, that is C and D, and formulating the strategy plan to move the organizations. Obviously, first of all, you have to see the current situation. If you feel that the change is required, then we have to, that is the developing and desired state. But after that, we have to formulate the strategy, plan, everything or resources what are required to implement that change. And this is another model, that is the organizational analysis, that in that point you will feel that yes, there is a need for change, otherwise we are losing the market, and if we do not incorporate the changes, we will not be able to in the competitive market. And then there is a design, change interventions, what are the changes are to be incorporated, that you have to think. After that, planning for the change. Then after planning, then you have to implement that change, that is the implementation. So these are the four processes for ADPI model, that is, this is a very important model, and we have to see from time to time that there has to be the feedback mechanisms, that whether we are achieving as per the need for the change for that particular item. Now, organizational analysis, this phase aims at developing an understanding about the organizations, its culture, its readiness for change. Efforts are made to understand the task, structure, strategies, system, procedures and management practices, moral, motivation and internal and external environment. Internal environment means the employees in employees and management within the organizations, but external environment means the customers, what they feel about that particular product, because customers, when they purchase any product, they also purchase the value. That means value of the product means whether that product is giving the services which the customer wants. And after service also plays a very important role. You might have seen that if you want to if you have purchased some product, so the company has sold that particular product, but after selling the particular product, customer needs the services, and if the services are provided properly by the company, and definitely the customers will be satisfied. As for example, the RO water, you are using the RO water that, or any refrigeration air conditioning system, or any equipment. So the annual maintenance are required. If there is any problem, it has to be replaced. So who will do that work? So company, they are having some franchises and they are employed to give those they give those services. If those services are good, definitely the customers will be having full satisfaction. So that will, in that way, the company will capture the market. Designing change intervention. At this stage, the vision or the desired state of the organization is prepared. Active involvement of top management and wide agreement on the interventions are essential. Planning for the change. The objective of this stage is to plan for effecting the desired changes for achieving the vision. Implementation means this is the most crucial stage. The action plan has to be implemented and persons involved have to be educated and convinced about the gains. There has to be some feedback mechanisms after implementation. The feedback mechanisms will tell whether the implementation is correct or not. If there is any deviations from our desired goal, that has to be rectified by taking corrective action. Now, action research, diagnosis, so collection data about the problem, perceptions, concerns and expected changes from the employees of the organizations. Analysis means data analysis to identify the problem. Feedback, that I have already explained. Action plan is set in motion and evaluation is carried out at the planned intervals to know the extent to which implementations have taken place and desired changes have been arrived at. So evaluation process is very important. Nowadays the modern car manufacturers, after selling the car, each and every say 3 months or 4 months interval, they invite the customers, those who have already purchased those cars, and they arrange some conferences or workshops and they get the data from the customers whether they are satisfied or not, and if there is slight improvement ought to be carried out, that has to be carried out, as because the customers, that is the requirement for the customers. So to satisfy the future customers, they are fulfilling those aspects. In the new model, they will modify the particular car as per the data collected from the users of those particular brand car. And phases of planned change are creating and communication awareness, feeling the need, exploring the readiness, intervening, managing the transitions and evolutions and follow up. So creating and communication awareness about change is first stage, feeling the need. Once the awareness spreads, the involved people start feeling the need for the change in the organizations, particularly the need for eliminations of unhealthy situation. Now, exploring the readiness. In spite of the felt need, it is essential to explore the readiness of the organizations to change. A process facilitator may call a meeting, workshops of senior people, and on the basis of observations or the interactions. Resistance to change is likely to be high when too much fascination for the status quo is displayed. Fear or apprehensions are strongly expressed. Cases of failure are cited more than success stories, and resource scarcity is also important point for the resistance of change. Now, here the intervening or managing the transition, this involves many steps such as preparing the team. A team of internal resources persons is constituted for carrying out the interventions. Ideally, it is a multidisciplinary team. Suppose if you are thinking for change for any manufacturing product, and for which there are other engineers are also involved. For mechanical engineer, they will look after the mechanical part. Electrical engineer, they will look after the electrical parts of that particular equipment. Electronics engineers, they will also look after the electronic features embedded in that particular product. So, it is a multidisciplinary teamwork for a particular product. Now, conducting the activities, this involve many steps. One is conducting the activities. The interventions that have been planned need to be implemented, and mid-course evaluation, the periodic evaluation is required for ascertaining whether the interventions are bringing desired results. Evaluation and follow-up is also very important. The result of the change initiative should be measured periodically. If there is any deviations, that corrections the corrective actions has to be taken very quickly, so that the customers will be satisfied. And strategies of change, there are 7 strategies of change: follow, fellowship change, political strategy, economic strategy, academic strategy, engineering strategy, military strategy, and confrontation strategy. So, very quickly let us discuss the fellowship strategy. It says that if we have good one interpersonal relations, all other problems will be minor. Emphasis is placed on getting to know one another and on developing friendship. So, political strategy means if all the really influenced people agree that something should be done, it will be done. Sometimes the political strategy are also implemented in power sectors, especially for the distributing sectors, to reduce the commercial and technical loss. And the economic strategy, that economic strategies believe that money can buy anything or any change we want. They emphasize the acquisitions of, or at very least influence over, all forms of material goods such as money, land, stocks, bonds, and any other tradable commodity. Academic strategy says that people are rational. If one presents enough facts to people, they will change. So, they strongly believe, and that is for the urban areas, that if you can explain the people or the customers with conducting some seminars or workshops, they will understand this very clearly. Engineering strategy, that users of this strategy try to bring about behavioral change without dealing directly with the people involved, by underlining assumptions that if the environment or the surrounding changes enough, people will be forced to change. Military strategy, the military style approach to change is based on the use of physical force. The approach, because it conveys the appropriate connotation to most people. The basic assumptions behind this approach is people react to genuine threats. with enough physical force, people can be made to do anything. And the confrontational strategy, the confrontational approach to change is based on the assumption that if one can mobilize enough anger in enough people and for them to look at a problem, the required change will follow. But actually it is not a good approach for conflicting management. So, the common interventions for management change are communications. The communications has to be proper, and now the modern management authorities are leveraging the power of information and communication technologies for smooth conductions of communications in the organizations, employees as well as the management. Education and training, it is very important. It involves persons may not have desired environment, organization, functional, technical, financial, strategic, behavioral knowledge and skills. Education and training is very essential at all stages. Participations and involved is also very important. Those who are objecting or resistance for change, if they participate for discussion, sometimes the problem gets resolved. And facilitations and support, this is also very important, that facilitations is a process in which persons acceptable to all members of the group, substantially neutral and having no decision making authorities intervene to help a group improve the way in which it defines and solve problems and makes decision in order to enhance the effectiveness of the group. And negotiation is also plays a very important role for having a change scenarios and co-opting. Sometimes we have seen that in a group of members for any particular project, some co-opted members are also be involved, and the co-opted member has to be well aware of that particular job so that he can contribute in a positive way. Manipulations, this technique comprises covert influencing tactics which uses twisting and distortions of facts to make them appear more attractive and potent. Coercions, implicit and explicit, it involves applications of direct threats or force on those who are resisting and are likely to resist. This is also not a good practice. The management has to sit and discuss with the employees and take their opinion. Sometimes their opinion are good for the organizations. So let us quickly summarize our discussions. Today we have discussed the change management. What is change? We started with process of change, then the change models and strategies of change we have discussed. We have also discussed the common interventions for managing change. Thank you very much for today's discussion. So next time we will bring some other topic on this power distribution management course. Thank you very much.